Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. So today I have on the show Patrick Auerbach, who is Associate Senior Vice President for Alumni Relations over at University of Southern California. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So I'm excited to get into what you're doing over at USC, specifically with alumni relations. As we were talking in the pre-show, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing over there, but you're doing it right because USC has a really strong presence here. And I said my Spartans, not as much, but you did mention that in East Lansing we're very strong. So there we go. We got East Lansing. But before we get into that, Patrick, I do want to get a little bit more into your background. So how did you get started in your career?
That's always an interesting question. I was going to college, actually across town at another fine university, UCLA. I don't think our USC alumni would be thrilled for me to say that, but it's the truth. That's part of what makes you. It's part of what makes USC great is that we also have an arch rival here in the same city. We share a lot of the same, audience, and we compete for a lot of the same things here. So I think, that we actually make each other stronger. So I was a student across town, 30 years ago, and didn't really know what I wanted to do, and kind of discovered sports later in life. I was not active in sports as a kid. I had a brother and a sister, and my brother played sports. My sister really did not, and I just kind of did not. But I got very interested in sports when I was in college, and really thought that I suddenly wanted to be a college athletics administrator. So after graduating from UCLA, I went to graduate school at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville because I wanted to go to a big brand, go to the South, go to like one of those typical college towns and really get immersed in the experience. And I was very fortunate to meet some very wonderful leaders in the whole collegiate sports space, and started off my work in intercollegiate athletics and pivoted over to the WNBA, which at the time in the late 1990s was a new league. It was nascent, and it was really exciting to be part of this, kind of startup venture. Realized shortly thereafter that I wanted to be back in the collegiate space, and was fortunate that I got hired by a wonderful university in Los Angeles. But, as they say in life, you never know what's going to happen. Little did I know that the wonderful university to offer me a position was actually the arch enemy to where I earned my bachelor's degree. So I ended up working in the athletic department here at the University of Southern California, specifically with the women's basketball program, and was pursuing my doctorate degree in higher education here at USC, which is a wonderful perk a lot of times when you work on a college campus, is you get access and you maybe even get a tuition discount for earning an additional academic degree. And as I was getting close to finishing my degree, I really was putting my brain towards what's next for me. I really loved being at this university. I love college sports, but I really became very attuned to the greater enterprise, like the broader enterprise of higher education. And as luck would have it, as I was wrapping up my dissertation, a position opened up in the Alumni Association on the senior leadership team. So I moved over from athletics after working in athletics for about 15 years overall, over all the parts of my career. Moved over to the field of alumni relations, and then 5 years in was appointed to lead the alumni relations program here at the University of Southern California, and I've now been in this role for 7 years.
Wow, what an amazing story. And what I like about it is that you had a couple pivots in between, but you ultimately ended up in where you wanted to be close to the university or the collegiate level of education in terms of your day-to-day position. One thing that I think is really interesting that I kind of mentioned when we were warming up for this was that I think all colleges out there obviously want to maintain a close alumni or a close relationship with their alumni, and the better that they could do that, obviously the closer it's going to be to long-term success for not just the obvious like donations, things like that, but for school spirit, for the network, for the new grads in terms of having positions when they get out, and just that all the benefits that come from a strong association. So I've just noticed being in LA now for I think going on 9 years that USC has has a very strong presence here and a close network. What are some of the things that you think contribute to that?
Well, I mean, you can't have a great alumni network without, first of all, great people, and second of all, without a great university undergirding it. And it's kind of a similar notion when you talk about college sports and people say, oh, college football. Yeah, college football or college basketball or any college sport can be great, but you can't have a great collegiate sports team without a great college or university, which is the foundation of it. And so I think the same holds true with alumni relations. You need the two key ingredients are people, and you need the actual educational institution. USC has always been even from its humble beginnings 130 years ago, USC has always been a very enterprising, innovative, forward-thinking institution, and that mentality has really carried on through the decades, literally. And the alumni who have come here have made the institution stronger when they were students and have made it stronger when they're alumni. And it's kind of been this kind of reflexive it's been like a two-way street where the university is better because of who's come here and who supports it, and the people who have come here and supported are better because they came from this university. So I think it really goes both ways. So when you talk about like this wonderful and strong, let's say, omnipresence of alumni here in Southern California, as much as I'd like to sit here and take the credit, I can't. What I can certainly do, though, is be very proud and privileged to have the position that I have to work with such amazing resources. The amazing resources being wonderfully accomplished and very forward-thinking and civic-minded people, as well as a very grounded and very forward-thinking institution.
So in terms of actionable steps, so let's just say, and I agree with everything you said. I completely get that, and I know that there's some other alumni and other leaders of universities that are listening to this in various parts of the country who are working with, strengthening and making their alumni associations better too. What are some actionable things that you think that USC does that's just a little bit different, that just contributes to some of that success?
There's been this notion that we kind of have a secret sauce here at USC, like what is it about this Trojan family? What is it about this institution? And I will say this, what a lot of people don't know is that USC is actually a private university. Our name is a very public-sounding name. For example, when you hear University of a given city or region, most of the time people will think, oh, you must be public because we have a very strong, as referenced earlier in this podcast, there's a very strong competing university in this town, which is the University of the name of a state and the name of a city. So I think a lot of times people would associate a university with our type of name as a public school. We're a private university. So right off the bat, there's a lot of inherent advantages to that, and that we can really kind of chart our own course, even though we obviously are an institution that serves the public, because we do technically. We're a private university with a very public-facing mission. So I think that in and of itself it uniquely positions us to be able to do things at a swifter pace, but still at the same time do things that make society better. So I think that and again, that might sound really abstract, and you kind of have to be in the weeds here at the institution to understand what that means, but there's always great opportunities for alumni to be bold and be creative, and we don't have to leave as much of it, let's say, up to let's say by committee, or have it be voted on and have it be approved by so many layers of, like, let's say some sort of public entity like municipal or a state government. We're not subject to that. We are obviously still subject to all the laws of the state and the federal government, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I just think that there's some advantages there. Just a unique positioning in such a vibrant and diversifying and growing city, I think also really enables USC to have a competitive advantage.
So in terms of this podcast, I don't know, I think we're at like maybe 30% of the downloads come from this local area, this whole Southern California and Northern California area. Any kind of projects or anything interesting that the school's working on in general that you care to talk about?
Well, I could give you I could talk specifically about our alumni program, that one of the things that we do, which I think was unusual about 8 or 9 years ago, and it's now really kind of caught fire, and a lot of other alumni associations do it. We do, a lot of schools do like a day of giving where they want you to give money to the school. Yes, we do one of those too. That's important, but that's not what sets us apart. What sets us apart is that we do like a global day of service, where what we do is in 15 different countries and about 35 different U.S. states and about 15 different countries, we go out and do community service. We do a project that is meaningful to a given local community, but we do it in the name of USC. What this does is it really speaks to our philanthropic roots that we have here at USC, where people feel like they could, as a USC alum, as a Trojan, as we call ourselves, they could go out into their community, and whether it's cleaning up a park, reading to school children, helping to take care of service animals, It could be any sort of public or some sort of public duty or service that people do in the name of USC. That's an ongoing mission that we have to make our communities better. And we do it in the name of our university, which obviously helps to enhance our brand and our reputation. Okay? So that's something exciting that we do at that level. We have a new university president, Dr. Carol L. Folt, and a lot of what she's focusing on is access and affordability for our students, and also really being a great urban partner with the city in which we live. So we're really looking at opportunities there where we can join hands with all different facets of our university campus, as well as join with the community to help make this place better. And hopefully with the work that we do there, then we can have a broader impact, whether it's trying to address critical issues that we have not only locally like homelessness, but homelessness is a national crisis. Or whether it's looking more on the research side and the scientific side, looking at things that the university is doing to help solve, if they can, of course, a cure for cancer has been something that, that the world has been pursuing many years, but also now Alzheimer's is something that, USC puts a lot of emphasis on. So there's so many things that we're trying to do to make the world a better place and to solve what we call like either wicked or intractable problems. I think that really sets an exciting course and ambitious course for USC, and our alumni have a key role to play in that.
Man, that's awesome, Patrick. So if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on the Alumni Association, what's the best way for them to get that?
Well, I will say thank you, first of all, as nowadays you just direct people to your website, alumni.usc.edu. But I will make an important distinction here as well, is that the USC Alumni Association, unlike many of its, let's say, peer, or if you want to call them competitor institutions, is that we do not charge dues. So once you graduate with your degree from USC, whether that's a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a doctorate, you are automatically a member of the USC Alumni Association. So you don't have to pay dues. After all, you've already paid tuition. Even if you were on full scholarship, you've paid your dues, so to speak. So now you actually earn that degree. You are automatically a member of the Alumni Association. And going to our website, there's a myriad of opportunities, whether it's volunteering, serving on a university committee, perhaps being a career mentor to let's say a current student, or even a young or mid-career alum who needs some advice. There's so many ways that you could really become active in the university community. I think a lot of times alumni associations try to put on an endless slew of events so that people will come and participate in an event. And while events are an important way to engage alums, a lot of alums don't have the time. They might be busy professionals, they may be busy raising their families, or they just might have other personal interests. So they might not have the time to physically attend an event or sit through Los Angeles traffic to get to our campus, but there still should be other ways for them to have a meaningful relationship and engagement with their university, other than, let's say, writing a check. Because obviously philanthropy is important, but being engaged and involved and being an advocate for your alma mater is also something that we lean heavily upon with our alumni.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Patrick, really appreciate you coming on the show today and share more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at USC. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Patrick, thanks again for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.